Get out of here. This house is just for us now.
I couldn't hold back my anger at the husband's sneering smile right in front of me. He was blocking the entrance, preventing us from entering the house. Today was the day we were to move into our newly built house. Recently, my elderly father had fallen ill and needed to go to the hospital, making it clear that he now required care. Caring for my father alone is too much for my aging mother, so my husband and I decided to build a house together where my parents could live with us. Yet now my husband claims this house as his own and even tells us to leave. That includes me and my parents. After all, there he stands with parents-in-law behind him, both wearing similarly ugly smirks. My name is Caddy. I'm 35 years old and work as a full-time employee at one of the largest companies in the industry. I met my husband Jackson, who's the same age, through a mutual friend, and we got married 5 years ago. Jackson switched jobs 6 months ago to a full-time position at a small to mid-sized company. We both work and support each other in our life together. We wanted children, but due to infertility, we don't have any. Yet Jackson said,
Don't worry, Katie. I'm fine without kids. Let's just enjoy our life together, just the two of us.
Yeah, thank you. Let's give up on having kids and live happily, just us two. I always wanted a child, so learning that we couldn't have one was a real shock to me. But since there's nothing to be done about it, I decided to accept it and move forward with life. Since then, I've been putting even more effort into my work. Despite being busy, Jackson and I cooperatively manage our household chores. Our marriage is incredibly strong, and we make sure to go on vacations at least twice a year. We have been living without any issues. Then one day, I got a call from my mother, Rose, who lives far away. Hello, Mom. What's up? Katie, actually, your dad collapsed and was taken to the hospital. I was shocked, my face turning pale. Oh, he's not in any danger. He just woke up. But you know, Dad is getting older and his health is declining. That's good. He woke up at least. When will he be discharged? He should be out in about a week. Got it. Let me know if anything else happens. With that, I hung up the phone. Relieved that he was not in danger, I couldn't help but think about how old my parents were getting. My mother had hurt her leg last year and always uses a cane to walk now. This incident made me seriously consider my parents' future care. I'm an only child, so the responsibility falls on me. After much thought, I decided to discuss something with Jackson. Hey, Jackson, I think my parents will need care in the not-so-distant future. They're getting older and weaker.
Huh? Yeah, they're quite older than my parents.
That's right, so I was thinking maybe we should build a house with a separate unit for them. It seems like the best way to prepare for their future care. What do you think? Jackson looked surprised at first, then thoughtful. It's a big decision to live with one's in-laws. You don't have to answer right now. Take your time. I was about to end the conversation, but Jackson suddenly looked up and cheerfully said,
Let's do it. Build a house with a separate unit. Let's live together with your parents.
Really? Are you sure? His quick decision surprised me.
Of course.
Jackson's beaming smile filled me with happiness. Thank you. I'll let my parents know right away. And so, we decided to build a house with a separate unit for my parents. I work for a larger company than Jackson and earn more, so I took out the loan. My parents were thrilled about living with us and grateful to Jackson for agreeing. However, when Jackson's parents, Janet and Mike, found out, they started making snide remarks. Every time we met, how can you, a daughter-in-law, prioritize your own parents over your husband's? What kind of nerve do you have? They would say. Jackson's parents are still young and healthy, and he has siblings. I was getting fed up with being blamed for being insensible. I'm sorry, my parents are elderly and my father needs care now. We don't know when my mother will too. So what? That's no excuse. Why aren't you prioritizing us? It's insensible for a daughter-in-law.
That's right. Janet's correct. Are you disrespecting us, Katie?
No, I'm not disrespecting you. No matter how much I explained or apologized, my in-laws never listened. Why compare them with my parents who are old and need care while they're young, healthy, and have others to rely on? I sometimes thought their other children could take care of them. Jackson tried to defend me, saying,
Mom, Dad, calm down. Don't say things like that.
But they continued to attack me. As things continued like this, my husband and I became estranged from his parents. Eventually, the house designed for 2 families was completed. On moving day, I brought my parents to the new home. Jackson was waiting at the door because our stuff was being delivered today. Looking up at the new house from outside, both of my parents were delighted with how wonderful it looked. My mother, with tears in her eyes, said to me, "Thank you so much." And my father, Max, added,
I don't even know how to thank you for building such a magnificent house.
I smiled at them and said, Let's enjoy living here together, all four of us. Let's go inside. The three of us opened the front door. To our astonishment, parents-in-law appeared from inside the house. Wait, Janet? Mike? What are you doing here? I asked, bewildered. Parents-in-law smirked at me as if mocking. At that moment, I had a terrible feeling. I was hoping my premonition would be wrong, but then Jackson appeared with a creepy smile and blurted out something shocking.
We're going to live here, just me and my parents, the three of us.
What do you mean? My bad feeling was confirmed.
I never planned to live with your parents. I waited until the house was finished because the loan is in your name. So please, leave now.
You tricked me?
Yeah, that was the plan all along. I didn't tell my parents about it until recently because I don't want you to find out and refuse to finance it. I even pretended to defend you when my parents blamed you.
Jackson said this nonchalantly and then declared,
So, Katie, Rose, and Max, please leave. We have already moved our stuff in.
Furious, my parents and I glared at Jackson. Unbelievable, I never thought Jackson could be such a person.
Say whatever you want. I've been thinking of divorcing you anyway since you can't have kids, but you have money, so I couldn't just leave. Now that the house is handed over, it's a good opportunity. Let's divorce.
With that, Jackson handed me divorce papers. I'll gladly divorce someone as despicable as you. I snatched the divorce papers and signed them. I'll file these. Goodbye. With those words, my parents and I left the house.
See ya. We'll live happily in this big, beautiful new house you built.
Jackson and parents-in-law laughed loudly behind us. After leaving, I apologized to my parents for everything that had happened. They told me I had done nothing wrong and comforted me. I filed the divorce papers and settled the property division. The divorce was finalized successfully. I had no intention of contacting him again, but a month later, Jackson called me dozens of times. Finally realizing something, I couldn't help but laugh as the phone kept ringing. Clearing my throat, I answered the phone.
Hello, Katie. Finally, you answer. Why didn't you pick up sooner?
Jackson sounded desperate. Don't call me again. You're being persistent.
It's an emergency. You told the bank we're divorced, didn't you?
His words confirmed my suspicion, and I struggled to hold back laughter. Yes, I reported it. Of course, the loan is in my name, and now that I'm divorced and not living in the house, I don't want to be accused of fraud by the bank. Indeed, the loan agreement stipulates that the borrower must reside in the house. Not reporting it would be a breach of contract.
Because you reported it to the bank, they called and demanded a lump sum repayment of the loan. How could this happen? This is absurd.
Jackson sounded desperate. Why are you surprised? Didn't you think about this happening when you decided to live in a house not under your name? You should have transferred the loan to your name. Didn't the bank offer to change it? I asked Jackson in disbelief.
So that means...
Jackson stammered in response. You changed jobs 6 months ago, right? Is that why you couldn't change the loan?
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't change the loan, and now they're asking me to pay it all at once. This is so infuriating. You could be the loan holder, but I can't.
Jackson's pride was clearly wounded by his inability to secure the loan.
It's impossible to pay off the loan all at once, right? So, Katie, you should pay it. Hey, are you listening? Pay the loan.
Faced with Jackson's absurd demand, I sighed heavily. Why should I pay for a loan on a house I don't even live in? Can you stop talking nonsense? If you can't pay, ask Janet and Mike.
Mom and Dad don't have any savings. They have been caught up in gambling these past few years, and they thought I was the loan holder, so they're really confused about the situation. Katie, you should pay it.
No matter what you say, I absolutely won't pay. Your lack of savings is your own issue, not mine. Please handle it yourself. Goodbye. I said coldly and unilaterally hung up the phone. There were several more calls, but I decided to ignore all of them. Eventually, neither Jackson nor parents-in-law could gather the money for the lump sum repayment, so the bank filed a lawsuit, seized the house, and sold it. Parents-in-law had sold their original home to move into the new one, so they had nowhere to return. Consequently, Jackson and parents-in-law, now without the loan, were living in an old apartment. Their life became quite difficult, and parents-in-law started working part-time. Soon after, I received a call from Janet. Hello? Katie, I didn't know you were the loan holder. You deceived us. Janet yelled hysterically as soon as she started talking. I didn't deceive anyone. Nobody asked me who the loan holder was. I answered wearily, and then Janet made an outrageous suggestion. If you apologize for deceiving us, I might consider allowing you to remarry Jackson. What? I blurted out in disbelief. So if you apologize, you can remarry Jackson. I have no lingering feelings for Jackson and absolutely refuse to remarry him. As I stated firmly, Janet erupted in anger. What do you mean by that? You're just a part-time worker, aren't you? Not even a full-time employee and yet so arrogant? No, I am a full-time employee. You're a full-time employee at that company? Impossible. I thought you were definitely part-time. Janet said, sounding shocked. Then changing her tone, she began to flatter me. Hey, Katie, you're a full-time employee at a big company, so you must be earning a lot, right? You must have lots of savings, don't you? Yes, I earn more than Jackson. That's what I thought. We're really struggling right now. Jackson's small salary combined with what Mike and I earn is barely enough for the three of us. Could you spare us some money? After all, we're family, right? We should help each other in tough times. I was beyond anger and just dumbfounded by Janet's request. How could they treat me and my parents like that and still ask for such a thing? And neither Mike nor I have been able to keep a job for long. I try hard, but when young women reprimand me, I quickly lose interest. Mike is similar. Considering parents-in-law's high pride, it's easy to imagine why they can't hold down a job. So will you give us some money? As a full-time employee at that company, you must have plenty, right? Janet asked with a superficial smile, to which I responded coldly. No, I refuse. Everything is a result of your own doing. I never want to deal with you again. Don't contact me ever again. What? Please, a little will do. Just a little, I beg you. I'll apologize as much as you want. No matter what you say, my answer is no. Goodbye. Wait. Don't hang up yet. Despite Janet's scream, I hung up the phone. A few days later, Jackson called me. Reluctantly, I answered, What now?
Katie, I've been thinking, you're infertile, right? Nobody else will marry an infertile woman like you, so I'll reconcile with you.
I was furious and at my limit with Jackson's words. It's not me who's infertile, it's you. Accept reality for once.
What are you talking about?
Yes. The truth is, Jackson is the one who's infertile, not me. My reproductive functions are fine. But Jackson had a congenital issue making treatment nearly impossible. There's virtually no chance of us having children together. Jackson was told this by doctors but refused to believe it.
Such a fake doctor, I'll never come here again.
After storming out of the hospital, Jackson started treating me as the infertile one.
Unbelievable, infertility is caused by a woman's womb, so how can a man like me be infertile? But Katie, don't worry. Even if we can't have children, I'm happy just living with you.
Jackson, convinced by a specialist, believed infertility was a woman's issue. Knowing we could never have children and that forcing the issue would be pointless, I never pressed the topic. It's not just women who can be infertile, men can too. You're the one who's infertile. We'll never have children. When I reiterated this, I could hear Jackson gasp over the phone. After a pause, Jackson whispered in despair,
So I'm the one who's infertile?
Yes, I have been medically cleared. There's no problem with me.
I've always been inferior to you in terms of income, but having an infertile wife was my only solace.
What? You're saying this now? You're the worst.
Please, I'm sorry. I apologize for everything. Let's remarry and support me. Work is hard with low pay, and my relationship with mom and dad is terrible. We're always fighting, and it's really tough.
Jackson desperately apologized and asked me to reconcile, but my heart remained unmoved. I refuse. I don't love you anymore. In fact, I hate you. Why would I reconcile with someone I hate?
Don't say that, but please.
It's impossible. No matter how much you apologize or beg, it's absolutely impossible. I don't want anything to do with you or your parents anymore.
Please, I'll change.
As Jackson persisted, I decided to reveal something. Actually, after we divorced, I met someone nice. He earns much more than you and is very sincere. That's right. After divorcing Jackson, I met a man named Kevin through work. We have developed a good relationship. He's asked me out and I'm considering accepting. We have been to dinner a few times and he's really a great person. When I told him about what you and parents-in-law did, he cried and got angry on my behalf. My parents also like him. Kevin is empathetic, kind-hearted, easily moved to tears, and a trustworthy man.
There's someone like that?
Jackson said in despair. Yes, that's right. So a reconciliation with you is absolutely out of the question. Please give up.
I understand. I'm really sorry for everything until now.
There's no need for apologies anymore. If you feel sorry, then please don't contact me again. Well then, this is truly goodbye. With that, I ended the call. Afterwards, Jackson continued to live in the old cramped apartment with parents-in-law. It seems he might have reflected on his actions a bit and started living more earnestly. He never contacted me again. However, parents-in-law's habits remained unchanged, wasting their meager salaries on gambling and further worsening their financial situation. Fed up with them, Jackson eventually moved out. Parents-in-law would occasionally contact me for one-sided updates and repeatedly ask, Katie, give us some money. They persisted despite my refusal and even started to ambush me at my workplace. As a result, I had to consult the police and handle the situation, leading to their notoriety among the neighbors. Apparently, they became unable to walk around openly. Soon after, the contacts and ambushes from them stopped completely. I had been keeping track of all three through emails and voicemails, but now there was no need to keep them any longer. Finally, I regained my peaceful daily life. As for what happened with Kevin and me, I started dating him and our relationship has been progressing well. He recently proposed and I accepted. My parents are overjoyed. Kevin has been actively involved and we're progressing in discussions about living together with my parents. I feel like I can finally find happiness this time.